Hi, my name is Bob Young, and I'm a Smart Exemplary Educator from Rolling Ridge Elementary in Erie, Pennsylvania. And I wanted to share with you today how I incorporate the Smart Board, the Smart Document Camera, the Smart Response System, and the Smart Slate into my math lessons. For today's lesson, I want to show you how I use all of those to help my students learn how to tell time. One of the things that we do is I will give them different times, and they each have their own clock. For example, I might tell them to show me what 3 o'clock looks like. So they would show 3 o'clock on one of their mini clocks, and then I'll call on a student to come up and put that underneath the document camera to see if that is the correct time, and to see if it matches with the other students as well. This happens to be the time and temperature unit that my students work on. They love to play different games, so we'll take a look at the game for today. And on this game one, what they end up having to do, and usually I have them do this in groups of, or pretty much 2 different groups. A lot of times it ends up being boys against the girls. And a lot of times what they'll do is they'll come up and they'll need to click on this to show a time. For example, that says 10 o'clock. They would drag a counter to find the clock that shows 10 o'clock. And it is somewhere around there. And not all, oh, there it is. 10 o'clock would be right here. So that one's used. Then another team would come up and click on this one. They'd have to try to find 4:30. And they keep going back and forth like that to see which team has the most counters. I really like using the random number generator, as that really picks a number for them that they have no idea what it's going to be. So it really gives them time to look for the correct time that they need to have. A lot of times once we're done playing with this game, I'll give a little assessment, and the assessment today happens to be with telling time. And the assessment says, what time does the clock show? 9 o'clock, 9:30, 10 o'clock, or 10:30. They would log into their Smart Response System, and then they would press the answer that they think it is. I'm going to press B and enter. And moving on to the second question, what time does this clock show? And we'll press B and hit enter to finish. And that really lets me know how well each student knows time, and it also helps me to figure out where and which students might need more practice with that. A lot of times throughout my lessons, I'll use the Smart Slate as well. The kids really love using this. For example, this is just one example of one of the lessons, but they'll come up, they'll interact with the interactive clock, they'll draw lines to show what times I asked them to put on there, maybe 7 o'clock. As I go and I put that on there. And a lot of times we'll just use we'll pass the Smart Slate around so they can do a lot of things right from their seat, or even as we're gathered right here on the carpet, to interact with the lesson. So this is just one way that I use the Smart Document Camera, the Smart Board, the Smart Slate, and the Smart Response System into learning by telling time.